Previously on the Rangz of Power.
Do you know why we wear these masks?
If I pull that off, will you die?
It would be extremely painful.
You're a big guy.
For you.
Get over here!
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
We open on these cloudy mountains. You know, some might even call them misty. Now, people are saying that this is the best episode yet, so you know that we're in for a good time. The Dwarven King Durin has been given 7 Rangz of Power to share with the other Dwarven lords, and I'm going to be honest, if I was him, I'd just put them all on. And why doesn't he just do that? He knows that 1 ring will give him power, so 7 rings should give him 7 times the power, and he would still have room for 3 more. But he decides to put on just 1, and then he goes to the mines in his full kingly attire to work in the dirty mines and dig through a supporting wall.
Dig here.
That's a foundation wall. Take it down.
Are you explaining Delvecraft to me?
Hey, look at that, he's literally digging up. This is exactly what I said they should do several episodes back. So they decide to dig down to look for tasty rocks to eat, which is the opposite way they should be digging.
How are we gonna get out of here?
We'll dig our way out.
Now, dig up, stupid.
It's the audio we need. It's light.
Wait. So if the only problem for the dwarves was finding the sunlight, first of all, why don't they just go and live outside? Second of all, if they have mirrors that can reflect the sun from anywhere in their minds to anywhere in Khazad-dûm, so why don't they just reflect the sun from outside the front doors? We know the doors work because they went to Eregion to pick up the rings in the first place.
Funny.
But because this worked, the dwarves and the elves are now best friends, and they decide to make a friendship door to commemorate it.
Behold, the doors of Durin.
Hey, do you remember how all the fans were asking for the backstory on how Mount Doom became hot?
No, that sounds really boring.
Well, now you have the backstory on the Melon door from the Fellowship. Celebrimbor is celebrating, but his boyfriend is mad that he's having fun.
Too much?
I encouraged you to keep it short.
Do not recall you saying that.
Well, forgive me. You do not always listen.
Trouble in paradise.
It is a game you play, is it not? Sowing seeds in others' minds and then convincing them that the fruit is of their own thought.
But unfortunately for Celebrimbor, gaslighting isn't real, you crazy bitch. Sauron the Walter White wants to give rings to men.
Rings for men.
But Celebrimbor thinks that marriage should only be between men and women, so he vetoes the plan.
We cannot give rings to men. I am sorry. My answer is no.
But Sauron then decides he'll do it himself, which is strange because Celebrimbor is the ruler of the city. His plan is to make 9 rings for men, because last time they made 3, even though it was Sauron's plan to make 2, it was actually Galadriel's plan to make 3.
We must make 3.
Why? The perfection of the 3. Thrice perfected. Why?
Hey, why not make 18 rings? That's like 3 times 3 times 2. Why not just get 10 times the power with 30 rings? Back in Númenor, the king has everything he's always wanted, but he would trade it all for a little more, and now he's big jealous of the elves who get to live forever. Which means he has a sneaky plan.
When you were at her breast, your mother prophesied that you would come to ill ends. What did she say? Impress me in the task that I'm about to place upon you, and I will tell you.
What kind of thing is this to say to your son? You were sucking at the teat and your mum said you were doomed, and then you won't tell him what she actually said unless you complete a quest first? Why can't you just be normal? Elendil and the former queen are mad about the recent election results, and Elendil wants a recount, but the queen can't see the point in it, you know, because she's blind. Since Sauron is now in charge, all of the naughty seamen have to turn in their badges. Was that a plastic knife? It's a plastic knife. Look at the way it bounces back. I mean, did they film this in the UK and they couldn't get their license to use real ones? One of the things that makes the Jackson films look so good is that they actually use real props. The chainmail is all chains, the swords are all swords, and they have that worn, lived quality to them. But everything in this show is plastic or printed shirts, and it really shows. There is like a dozen guys doing this exact shot, and this was the best one that they had, or do they just not care? I'll let the comments decide that, but be fair guys, they are just a small indie company on a shoestring budget. Isildur's sister is now a completely different character this season out of nowhere.
I'm sorry, I'd hoped to tell you earlier. Lord Belsagar wanted the lot of you charged with treason.
And Dad is starting to wish that she was the one that they lost in Mordor. So he resigns as captain and turns in the one solid weapon that the kingdom could afford. It turns out that Fazaron's secret quest for his son is to just be as unlikable as possible.
Captain leaving deck!
He's nobody's captain now.
Thank you, Captain. Balrog bless you, Captain. Balrog bless you.
Silence!
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Sit down! Leave, Mr. Keating.
Like, what is the point in telling people to be silent here when the guy is leaving peacefully? Just to make everyone hate you? Oh boy, here comes the cool Palantir effect. What? No, you can't do this to me. This is the one thing I actually like about the show.
You know how much I sacrificed?
Prince Durin was against the rings from the start, and it was Disa's idea to tell the king. She then forced him to do it, and then he did what she wanted, so now she's unhappy that he listened to her, and it's his problem that he needs to fix.
You pushed for this.
I know.
From the beginning.
I know. I did. I know.
So I applaud Amazon here for including an accurate portrayal of marriage. Somehow the Dwarven prince is short on cash.
We'll give you 100.
100?
100.
And Disa was too busy pondering her orb, so it falls out of those bony hot dogs that she calls fingers. And no one stops the incredibly valuable item as it rolls all the way through the market, down the street, and into a secret cavern that nobody's ever seen before. Disa is supposed to be a stone singer and in tune with the mountain. It's literally her job to map out these caves. How could this massive cavern exist right next to the market without her or anyone apparently knowing about this?
I suggest you don't worry about this sort of thing and just enjoy yourself.
But there is someone else who hates her singing just as much as me, the Balrog of Morgoth. The king then summons the 7 Dwarven kingdoms to come get their Rangz. But this isn't some charity he's running here. If they want those Rangz, then they gotta pay. How much, you ask?
Half! I'll take half his shit!
50% of their entire kingdom. Like, what? So some guy comes to you and he says, look, I've got these magic rings, trust me, they're magic, but you have to give me 50% if you want to try them on. Come on now. But even half is not nearly enough for King Durin. He needs more. So it's time to dig more deeply and much more greedily. Prince Durin then tells the king that an ancient evil has awoken down there, and they will literally incur the wrath of the Balrog if they keep mining.
There's something under the mines. A nameless evil. Ancient and powerful. You mustn't dig.
But we all know that time is money, friends, so he tells him to get lost.
Magnets.
Viewer beware. You're in for a scare.
Alright, so when I first saw this anvil being lowered into Celebrimbor's workshop, I thought it was because they wanted to expand their ring-making operation. But apparently, they just decide to suspend it by ropes in the air when they aren't using it, so it can fall down later.
Not a great plan.
This is some Looney Tunes tier writing going on here. Little Galadriel just straight up invents invisibility, and no one's impressed at all that she was turning their forge into Luigi's mansion, but there's no time to talk about that now, because Durin just teleported to Eregion to talk to the manager about the Rangz affecting his father.
Is it possible? The ring he's wearing?
No.
Then maybe the fault's in the ring maker. How much do you really know about this Arnatar?
Durin is asking the real questions here, and he is the only character with any sense in this show. We return to Númenor and they're finally grieving for Isildur, who we know is alive. And there's actually a neat little detail here where they put candles on shells and float them away. You know what? That's very cute. But no time for that now, because the guy whose job it is for the audience to literally just hate him arrives to tell them that they're going to demolish their church to make way for a new highway.
This shrine is condemned by order of the king.
My son, this is the oldest shrine in Númenor.
It's in the way of the new aqueduct.
Some more Looney Tunes writing, I see.
Give him the relic. Give it to him, boy.
Oh no. Don't drop the sacred artifact that the priest wants just to be a dick, and he dropped it. This is comical levels of lazy. What's next? Are they going to have him kick a puppy?
May the Valar forgive me.
For what?
The The guards don't intervene even though they're literally here just to protect him because we need to have our good guys spare the cowardly villain scene.
Put it down, son.
What a twist!
He then cleans his sword in the ocean. The reason you clean blood off a blade is because the iron will make them rust. So you put it in salt water instead, you nitwit. They tell the guards to blame everything on Isildur's dad, which won't work because like a dozen townspeople saw everything that happened, and the guards aren't just mindless robots either. Numenor isn't just evil now because the king replaced the queen like yesterday, but of course, the writers aren't thinking about any of this. Back to our battered wife Celebrimbor.
Did you, in some way, alter the Dwarven rings, yes or no?
What? Did the guy who both Elrond and Galadriel told you never to treat with again or even allow in the city, who also insisted on creepily holding the mithril as you were forging the 7 rings, somehow influence their creation?
No.
Couldn't be. Sauron then tells Celebrimbor that because he lied in his letter to the king, that's what made the rings evil. Sauron then tricks Celebrimbor into making even more secret rings. Yeah, can't see any problems here. Durin then teleports back to Khazad-dûm to try and get his dad to give up his blaying. But instead, he gets his job as son back.
Father, I am proud of you. I am proud of you.
And Disa is mad at him for not fixing the mess that she made.
I tried.
Durin, no.
I mean, it really is relatable stuff. Celebrimbor then tells his crew that they'll be working double overtime with no pay.
We shall work night and day. The 9 must do far more than bring aid to men. They must draw strength from the 3 and somehow redeem the 7.
Somehow is right, because this plan makes no fucking sense. If you're wondering how this goes in the books, they don't just make rings for dwarves and men. The rings were for elves all along. Sauron stole 16 of them and then handed them out to people that he was trying to control. Celebrimbor then forges the 3 in secret after he leaves, but Sauron finds out about this and wants to control those 3 over all else, and then he forges the 1 ring. The way they're trying to make it in this show makes less than 0 sense. Back to the Orc boys and their work has reached Eregion. Yes! Yes! Elrond arrives back in Lindon. Well, that was quick. He just legged it the whole way there. But heavy weighs the crown on the Elven king's head.
Send the army to Eregion this moment.
That will not be possible. Our armies cannot defeat both Adar and Sauron.
Why?
The elves are at the height of their power. They've got multiple cities and multiple armies. Sauron is still just one guy with nobody on his team. And Adar's orcs are just like a couple hundred losers that have no real resources, fortresses, or even homes. They just live in trenches. Even the humans were kicking their asses until Mount Doom erupted. What is the show's reasons for the elves not being strong enough here? Well, I guess we'll never know because, oh no, Galadriel is about to get gobbed.
Like one of my Japanese enemies.
But Adar has an interesting offer for her. And actually, it does make a lot of sense. The orcs don't like Sauron, the elves don't like Sauron, the orcs used to be elves, and they're led by an elf. Why can't they ally to fight against Sauron? But it doesn't make sense for us, because Sauron is just one guy with no army, and you just need 5 guys to poke him in the back or something. Even the orcs could accomplish this, and they're homeless losers. Will Galadriel sacrifice it all and join the orcs against Sauron? Well, you'll just have to wait until next week to find out by subscribing. And a big shout out to Let's Review Crap Writing. I see you lads in the comments. He's also been making some pretty fire Rangz of Power videos that you should check out. And he sent a few eyes my way, so this is the kickback.